what's going on, guys? You're on the sidelines with the Sideline guys. I'm Derrick. This is Chris.
Yes, sir. It's great to be back, you guys. How's it going?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How's your week?
Awesome, man. I can't complain. We didn't get trashed on picks either, so it's a good
Yeah.
week for sure.
Yeah,
Bittersweet
man.
though. Bittersweet. My
Yeah.
my Ravens lost in a real thriller. Everyone's loving that game, but for
Oh
me,
man.
frustrating. Super frustrating. We'll talk about it
Yo.
later for sure.
Yeah. Because I do have some thoughts on that one. But what you have the results from last week, right?
Yes, sir. So, let me pull this up right now. Both of us did actually very well. Both of us are above 500. For
Hey.
my picks, I went 9-7.
Okay.
And for your picks, you went 12-4. So
Oh
if you guys
wow.
are tailing us,
Jesus. Okay.
you're making good money. I
Yeah.
promise. Um,
Hey
just
man.
real quick, there was just two things I wanted to touch on. There were
Hmm?
three games that we both picked incorrectly,
Oh.
and that was the Texans against the Jags, the Bills against the Steelers, and the Packers against the Saints. So is there anything you want to touch on with those games?
Bro, surprised. I'll say this. I was surprised that the Packers only got 3 points.
Hmm.
I wasn't surprised how Jameis played.
I
That
know
this
he wasn't.
is, bro, that is, he's my dark horse for, let me pick this. Let me say this correctly. I think he will be a top 10 QB. I think he can be. Let me say that, not will. I think he can be a top 10 QB this year. If he continues to play like that, I don't even think that's hard to imagine.
For sure.
Especially with, some issues that, like, say for example, the Ravens have, like, is that going to allow Lamar to stay in the top 10 this year, or will he take a little dip because of the injuries? Um, so that might be, one of the ways that he's able to slide into the top 10. Never know.
Mhm.
Um, but did you get the feeling that A-Rod kind of, because I know this has been a narrative this week, that he kind of sabotaged the team. Do you get
Mhm.
that feeling?
Not at all. I just want to credit Sean Payton and what they're doing over there because I feel
Yeah,
like that the team looked well put together.
yeah,
They did a
yeah,
very good job coming out and punching them in the mouth early, and they
yeah,
were never able to recover. I think they were doing a lot of things to try to get back in the game. It's not like they were out there just going three and out all the time, but
mm-hmm,
at the same time, I agree. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered on the Packers side of the ball,
mm-hmm,
but I think it's more so about what the Saints did, not more so about what the Packers didn't do.
yeah,
I think obviously there's so much expectations given that they're the team that were in the title game the last 2 years.
mm-hmm,
But with that, just the fact that they played like that week one against that team,
yeah,
there's a lot of questions to be answered. I think he's not. It's not like he's out there unmotivated.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just I just don't think right now they have it together, and they got a pretty favorable matchup this week to try to get it back together.
yeah. And A-Rod is too much of a competitor to just give up.
Sure.
I can't sabotage. Nah, that's a waste of a year.
Literally,
Like,
literally.
if you're gonna sabotage, to me, it would make sense to do that. Like, what, in the last 3 years, he's had to carry the team, like, without any type of help for the longest
Sure.
time. So yeah, I think if he were to sabotage, that would have been done already. I don't see him doing that this year, especially following up an MVP. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, 100%. And I think ultimately, the team will definitely bounce back. I think
Yeah,
will they be a high end playoff team again? I'm not sure about that.
yeah,
But at the same time, you can't overreact too much to week one. I think he's still going to be one of the top five quarterbacks at the end of the year, no matter what happens, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah. And that's the thing. I think, like, I think you have to take everything in with, like, add context to everything. So week one, you can't overreact to a lot of things, but then, like, also with certain teams, you can tell this is like, they have certain things figured out. They
Mhm.
have certain, and it seems like the Saints, even with some injuries, they seem to have a lot of things figured out. And this is, like, I mean, Jameis Winston looks like Jameis Winston again. Like, he looks good. So I think they can, do a lot better than a lot of people think.
For sure. I think he looked a lot better than he has, and I don't even know how long. And on top of that, they looked better than they did with Brees last year. And I know
Yeah,
that's almost sacrilegious
it's
for some
weird.
people to think about, literally.
Yeah,
But yeah, you called it, man. LASIK Jameis is out here doing
yeah,
big things. And I think a interesting part of this story too is he didn't light up the Packers really. He didn't throw for over 300 yards. He
yeah,
got 5 touchdowns in a very
yeah,
efficient way.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and they're moving the ball well too with the running game. So
yeah.
I think they're going to be a scary team, especially when you consider that that's not their dominant side of the ball. The dominant side of the ball is the defensive end.
And they still don't have Michael Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can only get better. So who knows what the Saints can look like? I think if they continue with where they are right now, like how they played week one, it's going to be a very interesting year for them.
For
Very
sure.
interesting year. But I'll say this: the Bills surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
That was a shock. That was a shock. And Josh Allen almost lost me a fantasy matchup. I will say that.
That's where the salt always
That's
comes in.
yeah,
You know?
man. Like you just sitting here looking like, come on, man. I know, like just one touchdown, something like it's. I think like by like midway point of the second quarter, I would like, oh man, I was praying. Like I was praying like, come on, bro, because I have him in like I'm in 7 leagues. I think I have him in like 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is yeah. I need you to get your stuff together.
For sure. Imagine how they feel. They paid him hundreds of millions of dollars this
Yeah,
offseason.
yeah, yeah. And I think this is just week one. I don't with him that's the thing. I'm not overreacting to like that. I think the Bills are just fine. I don't think that there's much that they had to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
But that was concerning. I'll say
For
that.
sure.
That
I
was
would say definitely the Steelers rose to the occasion in that second half. I think the
they
first
did.
half, it was easy to say that the Bills were going to run away with it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
after getting punched in the face a little bit, they regrouped. They did better off on the offensive line in the second half, particularly
yeah,
protecting Roethlisberger and giving him chances to make some plays downfield,
yeah.
which is something that we thought they couldn't do at all.
Oh,
So it's interesting to see, man. I feel like it's more indicative of not like the Bills have problems with screaming. Because you remember, I don't know if you remember this, but last year there was a lot of talk after they hit that little rough skid in the beginning of the season,
hmm,
whether or not he's really who we thought he was. And I think
yeah,
no matter how he struggles, that's always going to be the conversation with Josh Allen at this point, just
hmm,
because he's so explosive in his performances when he
yeah,
does so well.
yeah,
But I think it's a little unfair. I think they'll definitely bounce back. And it wasn't alarming. The first half performance wasn't alarming. It's not like they were
yeah,
doing bad.
yeah.
I just thought the Steelers just did better down the stretch for sure.
Yeah, they did. They definitely did. They definitely did. I'm intrigued with the Steelers this year. I don't because it's like I feel like I can't like really get a strong sense of like what team this is going to be this year. It's very, very interesting and very intriguing. I didn't get to watch the whole game. I think that was a 1 o'clock game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was too busy with the Eagles and Falcons, so I was not turning away from that.
Too busy flipping out for
Oh
sure.
my, bro, I lost my voice, almost lost my voice when Devontae Smith got that touchdown. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, that was I know I annoyed my neighbors, but yeah, that Najee Harris, what do you think about him?
Man, I thought they did a good job containing him. I think that he looked good. I think he looked explosive.
Mhm.
I think there was times where there was some yards to be gained that didn't get gained, and I think
Yeah,
that comes with being a rookie. I think
yeah,
that with time he could definitely look better, and in certain matchups he's gonna look dominant. I think he's gonna have a good bounce back week this week.
oh yeah,
But given what's expected and what we want,
hmm,
if they're going to be playing against teams like the Bills, they need
hmm,
to get more out of that side of the ball. Just
yeah,
because what they got in the second half from the passing end, I don't
hmm,
think that's too replicable. There we
yeah.
go. Fancy. Down the stretch for sure. So I
Yeah.
think they need to get more from him, but I don't think it was a bad start at all.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think he'll only get better. There were a lot of rookies that in week one looked phenomenal, and the others that looked like rookies,
For sure. For
honestly.
sure.
So that's what's gonna happen. What was the third game that we missed?
The
We
Jags Texans.
Jesus, bro. Did not see that coming.
Not
I
at all.
that would I I guarantee if I would have been pissed if I hadn't placed a bet on that one because
Hmm.
that seemed like a sure bet.
For
That
sure.
seemed like a sure bet. What do you think with the Do you think this is like a flash in the pan type of thing for the Texans, or did they look like they can sustain this throughout the year?
I definitely think for both teams, it's about who they were facing, and that's what
Mm.
troubled me for the Jaguars. I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
the Texans definitely looked really, really good. Mark Ingram was balling.
Mhm.
You love to see it. I
Yeah,
just want to say this is the first time he's gotten 20 carries in I think over 3 years.
yeah.
So if you don't have him, if you need a running back, definitely consider picking him up because he's going to get a lot of touches, regardless of who they're playing.
I
But
didn't
I'm
even think about
interested.
that, to be
I
honest. I
just
think I
think,
need a
man.
running back.
He's like, I just need a quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I need a running back in one of my leagues. I forgot all about Ingram.
Uh-huh. There's a couple of good RBs. I know we'll get to that later too. I got a couple
Yeah.
more shouts for our sneaky RBs that could be picked up this week.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I think Ingram looked great. I think Tyrod looked great. I'm not sure how often they can do that throughout the season.
Hmm.
But I think their defensive front end looked really good too. I
Yeah.
was surprised by that.
Yeah.
And regardless of this, everyone loves to talk about how Trevor Lawrence had 3 picks. I think his touchdowns, his
Yeah.
passes,
Yeah.
I think you can look at that as a Jaguars fan and have something to look forward to. I
Yeah.
think he looked really good. Especially that pass to D Chark and it was just a dart. It looked
Yeah.
pretty,
Yeah.
and you love
Yeah.
to see that from your rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
I think for both of these teams though, it's going to be a struggle this year, regardless of how this game went. It's going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I'm interested to see when the bottom falls out for both teams and whether or not Trevor Lawrence could stay healthy because they had him running all night and it's
Hmm.
the Texans. So
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely something to watch out for.
Yeah. That was Jesus. I'm still shocked that it even went the way it went.
Mhm.
I speechless.
For sure.
Speechless.
And I think that says so much about Tyrod too. I
Yeah.
was looking
Yeah.
into the situation in Houston, and I think something that's interesting and not a lot of people are talking about is the fact that even though Deshaun Watson's not playing,
Mhm.
he's there as a voice for this
Yeah.
team, and he's
Yeah.
there in all meetings. He's not in any practices,
Hmm.
but he's there as a mentor for Tyrod. And I think having that set of eyes, I think he's one of the best QBs in the league too. So I'm sure
Hmm.
that there's a lot of things that he sees that he can help the rest of the team see.
Yeah.
I think that's going to help them this season. Once again, I don't think they're going to continue balling every week, but um, definitely a little sleeper. I mean, if you are hurting and you for some reason your auto pick didn't give you a second backup QB and there's no options, like you
Yeah.
might want to look at him over someone like Trevor Lawrence just because
Hmm.
I think they have more offensive potential in that way. Maybe that's
Yeah.
overreacting a little to week one, but um, man, he didn't even lose his job in LA.
Bro, that's the wildest part about it. Like he looked like he was about to take the job, and then what, medical malpractice basically.
Literally,
Like
literally, yeah.
that just it's weird. And like I personally I don't know if the Texans will be able to trade Deshaun Watson. I know
Neither.
everybody keeps talking about like for a while it was, oh, the Eagles were going to trade for him, which never made any sense to me. Now I think I saw something about Miami was interested. Um, which at this point
Wouldn't be bad.
it wouldn't be a bad move for them. I could see it because I like Tua. How much faith do you have in Tua?
Um, that's a good question. I would say the fact that he has familiar options makes me a little happier. I think
Mhm.
he was playing the Patriots week one. It's hard to look good against them no matter what week it is.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
say I would say he looked more like a game manager than an outstanding performer at quarterback. And if
yeah.
if you could do that successfully, you're in a good spot. There's a lot of teams in this league that need somebody like that.
Hmm.
I would say long term, is he the guy? He hasn't shown that yet.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I agree with what you were saying. I don't think that, man. for what the Texans are asking for, and for whatever team is going to be taking on, I don't know if they'll be able to find the value to make that trade happen. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's so strange because, like I said, he's not playing, he's not practicing, but yet the talk is that both sides are happy with the situation. Both
Mm-hmm.
sides are happy with, basically, this is on you. This is what you did.
Mm-hmm.
We're paying you this amount of money,
Mm-hmm.
so you're not going to be able to play for us, but you're expected to be here and do what we paid you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, the fact that they're getting some sort of positive out of that,
Yeah.
um, it it's nothing but a blessing for them. I think in a way the management is like, don't take this too far because
Yeah.
they're trying to be bad.
Yeah.
But I think it's a matter of just finding the right package, and I don't even know if that exists now, just considering what baggage Deshaun Watson is bringing with him.
Yeah, because you have to think like the just not even just the money that you have to pay, but the media circus that you're going to bring upon your franchise, bringing him in. It like it has to almost like it has to make sense to actually to make that move. I don't know that we won't see Deshaun play this year. Um, but I don't know like if he gets traded, so this legal process is going to take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see where a team is like, okay, we need to go ahead and make this move because we like that's we're like on the brink, right? Like it somewhat makes sense in that type of situation, which is why I think that Miami somewhat makes sense. Um, man, I don't know. That's a lot. That's a lot to has
Mm-hmm.
to ask a franchise to take on. Like
And
that's
it's
why
really
that's why I don't know that the trade package that the Texans want is what they're gonna get.
mm-hmm.
You know, like this whole thing seems to like lowered his value.
For sure.
You
And this
know,
situation is just so unprecedented too.
yeah.
I think that you can't really point to examples of things like this happening,
Mm-hmm.
but one that came to mind, and once again, I hope this isn't taken as, oh, they're two black quarterbacks, so that's why you're going with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think him thinking about the Mike Vick situation, and when he was in his own legal debacle,
Mm-hmm.
could you imagine a team trading for him? I know he was already in jail. I know he was
Yeah,
already in jail, but
yeah.
it's just considering the situation, and in my opinion, that's a much less severe offense. I
Mm-hmm.
know that the majority of the fan base, especially, is male dominated, so I feel like a lot of people downplay this situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think, regardless of all that, you wouldn't want to trade for Mike Vick in that situation, and this situation is
Oh,
worse. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't imagine. I honestly don't think he plays this year. I
yeah.
think until something is figured out on that end, where there's some sort of certainty that at least you're not the animal everyone's saying you are,
Mm-hmm.
there's no reason to put him out there, and there's no reason to trade for him because you will potentially be giving up so much for somebody that you could potentially not even have.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And that's the thing. I that's the only way I can see him playing this year is if he's traded, because
mhm.
there's no like reason for him to play in Houston again.
And for a bargain, like if a team could
Yeah,
get him for like a couple of picks or something like that,
yeah.
that
Roll the
might be the
dice.
only way this works.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Exactly. And that's not what Houston would want out of this, I can
yeah,
imagine. Even if it'll
yeah,
be a first, that's not what they will want.
yeah. They're not. Bottom line, they're not getting what they want.
Exactly. Yeah,
Like it's just
exactly.
it's hard to believe that they ever would. It's like the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean Philadelphia 76ers with Ben Simmons. Like his value is driven down. There's no way that they're going to get what they want for him. And he's got a big
Exactly.
contract. Like, you know, so it's like I can see wanting to get value for the player, for the talent, the contract that you've signed him to, and the potential. But it's not like it's and I'm not comparing the Ben Simmons Deshaun Watson thing either. But I'm just like just in terms of contract wise, like those are big contracts. I don't see Deshaun anyone jumping at the chomping at the bit to get Deshaun
For sure.
to pay him, and then also take in that headache. That's a lot. That's a lot to ask for a franchise to do, and on top of giving up what three they want 3 first round picks.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're not getting
I,
that.
I I would be surprised if someone offers one. first rounder. I
Yeah,
would think
yeah,
it'll be a package of second and on,
yeah,
maybe 3 picks from second round on.
yeah.
It's just a wild situation, and you can't blame anybody but the player. I think I'm one that signs generally with the player side of things and not the management sides of things.
Mm-hmm.
But you really got to feel for the Texans in the situation, and the fact that they're basically telling them, this isn't on us, this is on you, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to deal with your shit. And
Yeah,
at the end of the day, we're gonna move forward, and you're still gonna be helping this team the way we expect you to.
and
And
it's
I think
weird to
that's
say that you
that's
side
really,
with the Texans in
yeah,
anything.
100% in anything they choose to do, literally.
It's very weird to say that. Yeah, man. But all right, so what we're gonna want to move on to what the predictions next week, or you want to do fantasy?
We could hop into a little fantasy and then have fun with the predictions.
Yes, sir.
I think that'll also bleed in to when we're talking about the games. But I wanted to start with some wide receiver flexes.
Nice.
What are you thinking about that? Did you First of all, I want to ask, did you how are you feeling about your wide receiver situations in your fantasy leagues? And what damage have you noticed as far as production?
All right, so I'm not gonna go through all the leagues. Like I said, I'm in 7, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel pretty good, man. I got so just this one league right here. I have Terry McLaurin, I have Cooper Cup, Robbie Anderson. Let's see what's on my bench. I have Jacoby Myers. Oh, Jerry Judy. I have him on IR now, so that's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And Marquise Brown.
Nice.
Yes, I feel good about my bench with receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Judy on IR, I he'll be back.
For sure.
That's what 4 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hurting.
And it looked much worse. I
It
was
looked
watching
much
that game
worse.
too.
Yeah,
I have him on one of my teams too, and I panicked immediately. I was like, well,
yeah,
I need to find someone to grab right now.
yeah,
I think thankfully though, I think out of all positions, wide receiver is the deepest in the entire league, in my
yeah,
opinion. I
yeah,
think there's a lot of sleepers that people could pick up that'll definitely help as far as production moving forward. And
yeah,
I love real quick, I love the wide receivers you mentioned. All of them, in my opinion, had standout performances from your team.
yeah.
I think that my favorite though was that catch from Terry McLaurin. Did you see that?
Oh my god, bro,
Ridiculous, bro.
that was. I hate giving him credit.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate giving that team credit.
Hmm.
But my God.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Oh,
Head back, almost parallel to the ground, just to track it and then to
yeah.
catch it. The
And
the
stay in
tracking
bounds.
itself was literally the tracking itself was remarkable, and the fact that
Yeah.
he was able to keep with the ball,
Yeah.
but to catch it, corral it, it was awesome. That was a great play, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That was easily top 5 is of week 1. That was beautiful. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm like I said, I agree with you. This is a deep that's a deep position. So I think, even with like Jerry Judy going down, if he was one of your starters, you can easily find what's that guy's name? Harris from
Deontay Harris from the
Deontay
Saints, right?
Harris.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was about
yeah.
to say that too,
He's
especially with
one.
I'm blanking on his name right now. I'm the worst. He's injured. Michael Thomas, especially with Michael Thomas
Yes.
being out. I
Yes.
think he's the one that's going to be leading the charge for that team. And
Yeah.
they look great week 1. I think that's a great person to bank on
Hmm.
getting some production. Another name I have here from that Monday night game is Brian Edwards. I think
Yes.
although there's a lot of options on that team, I think they're not going to be consistent in any way, unfortunately. So it's a little bit more of a hit or
Yeah.
miss play. But
Yeah.
I think he looked awesome in the second half. He disappeared in the first half,
Hmm.
and in the second half, he looked great. I think that's another flex option that you could have just in case you're injured or really battered, and definitely get some productive points out of him.
What are your thoughts on Ruggs?
Man, I think he's good. I think he's good, but I would say I don't know if he's that wide receiver one that they want. I think you
I don't
saw
think
in
so
the
either.
first half, especially, they were trying to force feed Waller, and that makes
Hmm.
sense. That
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
You gotta let your best player eat,
Yeah.
but you want to have that option to open up the middle of the field for your tight end, and
Hmm.
that's what they need. They have pieces on the outside, but it's a matter of when are they gonna make that play. I think for Ruggs and Brian Edwards, and there's another good receiver that I like that they have, but it's just a matter of hit or miss with that team no matter what. Every single week is going to be who's going to be the one to actually step up and who's disappearing, which is unfortunate to see. You want that steady production from your wide receivers, but definitely I don't know if moving forward that'll be their wide receiver one. They want to try to probably grab somebody else, but another random note, nobody's telling you to pick up the Raiders defense, but Max Crosby looked legit, man, and that's somebody that Gruden drafted, so you got to give him props on that.
I agree. The defense in general, they stood up. They stood up. That see, my question though is how much of that was on them versus how much Baltimore was missing.
For sure.
And
you could say that about both teams.
Yeah, you could.
Both teams try to throw it away at the end there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely. that was the weirdest game I've seen in a very long time.
Everyone's like, it was the craziest thriller of week one ever. For me, it wasn't even a thriller. Like, I texted my friend, one of my best friends, about this, and I'm like, "What the fuck am I watching? Like, it's not even like this is crazy."
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't.
What's going on right now?
It was just weird. It was just weird because like you see where Baltimore has a chance to win, then you see where Raiders have the chance to win, and then it goes back to Baltimore. I was like, what is going on, man?
And it's not even the chance to win. It's where they should have won.
Well, they should have won,
teams.
Yes.
It was just so weird. Like nobody could execute the way they wanted to. You got 2 turnovers. One of them was literally in the red zone, and then the other one was on the way to go make the field goal for the win. It was just bizarre. That whole game was bizarre in the second half, but fun to watch, man. It was hilarious. Right before that turnover on downs, literally after the Leatherwood penalty. All the players are hugging each other like, man, good game. You know what I'm saying? Good game. You got us. And then literally but both teams could have won after that moment. So it was crazy.
That was hilarious. I was actually texting a Ravens fan at that moment. And they were like, I turned it off. I was like, why you turn it off? I was like, that wasn't a touchdown. His knee was down. Like, literally turn it back on.
Literally. And then they got the rookie to jump. That was crazy. I was excited when that happened for sure. But real quick, to get back on track on fantasy, I just wanted to mention another name for wide receiver. Let me pull this up. Give me 1 second. So he is owned in over 50% of leagues. So this isn't a big one, but I would say Mike Williams from the Chargers. He looked great, man. He looked great. And I think that they're going to be a team that you could count on offensively this year. And I love having players from teams like that on my fantasy team. I think he's going to look good, and he's available in most leagues. So try to grab him while you can. And for your RB options, there's a bunch of options too. We already mentioned Mark Ingram is a good safe bet. I would say this week, not so much, but Tyson Williams is another great pickup from the Ravens. He looked good early on in that game.
He did look good.
And another great option, in my opinion, one of the best lines in the league, is Elijah Mitchell from the 49ers. There's so many people. I got him in all my leagues. Literally every single league I've gotten him. He's still available in over 80% of leagues. So try to grab him quick because he's going to be their RB1 this season, just based off how he played week 1.
Next week is going to be interesting though. I don't know that he's going to get as much production as people think. You talk about a sleeper on fantasy. I think the Eagles defense is a sleeper. It's one that I believe going into the season was going to be one of the best in the league. But see, I try not to draft my team because I feel like it's such like
setting yourself up for heartbreak. I feel you.
It's not even just that. I feel like it's a curse almost. Like I did that one year. I think it was like the year after the Super Bowl. I started picking up some of my guys, and then all like they went down like flies. I was like, nah, I'm not.
Never again.
Not doing that, man. Not doing that. But I think this defense is one of the best that I've seen for Philly in 10 to 15 years. Like, I think Mitchell is going to be a good back. I think he's fantasy wise. I think he's going to be really good this year. But I think for
That
this
matchup.
coming week,
Mhm.
that defensive line, bro, that's like Mike Davis looked good. He wasn't good fantasy wise, but actually watching, he looked really good.
Mhm.
Like, it's just that their offensive line was just trash. Like, oof, that left side, especially, man. I feel bad for Falcons fans. I normally don't,
Yeah.
but I feel bad for them because like just with the draft in general. Like I thought, like I understand why you get Pitts, but at the same time, it's like you need some more. You need some more help on the offensive line. You
For
know,
sure.
and then getting Mike Davis, I wasn't even thinking they were going to do that
Mhm.
before the offseason began, but that was a great move. But Atlanta's got a lot of stuff to fix. So I don't know. I think it was a combination of both the defensive line and the offensive line. Like, defense looking good, offense looking bad.
For sure.
But Mitchell, I think he will be a good, a really good option this year. But another one now, say for running back though, is Kenneth Gainwell.
That's a deep cut. I like it.
That's like, I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know that he would be someone that you put like as your main running back, but in the flex option, in certain opportunities, especially against like specific defenses,
Mhm.
it makes sense. It
For
makes
sure.
sense. I think he's a sleeper for sure. That Nick Sirianni has that team playing a balanced game, and that's not
Mhm.
something we've seen from Philly in a while. So anyone that
For
got
sure.
Sanders, oh man, you looked up.
Yeah,
You looked
100%.
up. Yeah, yeah. Because I saw a good pattern with him, and he was falling in my drafts. I think he fell to like round 7 or 8.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could get him late.
You could get him real late. So yeah, I think even if you don't have any running backs on your team, Mitchell and Gainwell are two that would be good to look at for
For sure.
sure. For sure,
Yep,
especially with flex. Yeah.
100%. Great cuts. We love to hear it. QB, you could. I feel like there's always options at QB, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
let that one slide. You can figure that out. Tyrod Taylor's available in most leagues. Go grab him
Hmm.
if you need him.
Yeah.
So let's move on to these week 2 predictions, man.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the Thursday game. You're gonna love this one. We got the Washington football team versus the New York Giants in Jersey.
Yeah.
How do you think this one goes, man?
I'm so confused. I think Washington wins it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think they win it, but I don't think they dominate the game.
Yeah, they
I just
can't.
they can't. The way that God, who did Washington go against week 1 again?
Chargers.
Chargers. The way that defense looked on for like run defense, you got Barkley this week. Ah, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I don't know. Like that run defense wasn't impressive to me. Not for week 1. And I'm not
Exactly.
trying to hang up. I'm not trying to get so caught up in the way everybody looked in week 1 and predicting that for their whole season. But that didn't look good.
For sure.
And
I agree.
and if you're going against Saquon Barkley, that
I think
I don't know,
the
man.
only silver lining is you could say they were trying to key in on the passing game. So
Yeah, that's true.
maybe
That's true.
maybe trying to key in on the running game this week would be a safer bet, just considering how the Giants looked last week. But
Yeah,
I agree, man. I think they were struggling a little bit, but I
yeah.
think their front seven is so good that even if they're having a off night, they'll still find a way to stuff a couple of those plays.
Oh, for sure,
Um,
for sure.
and in my opinion, Barkley wasn't looking too good either. So
Nah.
that's a little positive to have on their end.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure a lot of people are going to be surprised more so about how the Chargers are doing later on in the season.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that there was some negatives to take away from that game.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, and Shepard. I think fantasy wise, he's gonna be a really good option as well, especially in flex.
For sure.
But dang, I don't know. I don't know that Jones is the guy for New York, man.
Man.
I just don't know that I believe in him like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's very possible that Washington could try and go get Cam Newton now that Fitzpatrick is down, but Heineke
I
was
was going to say I like Heineke
I like him. I think he might be the I'm not gonna say he's the guy, but I mean he did well last year.
for sure.
He did well
And him
last
and
year.
Cam sort of play that same role. So
Yeah,
that's why
yeah,
I feel like that fit is a little off.
yeah.
I don't know, man. I think they don't. I think there's a reason why they didn't start him, and no matter what, that's just based on how they want to play. And
Mm-hmm,
unfortunately, they can't afford to have that this season apparently.
mm-hmm,
So they're just gonna have to live with that. I think a part of him looking good out the gate too was them not being keyed in on him defensively, expecting sort of the in the pocket passer versus the scrambling, making options QB.
yeah.
I think moving forward, as teams key in on him, it'll be a little bit easier for him to be stopped. But
Mm-hmm,
if he could get anywhere close to that game against the Bucks
yeah,
on a weekly basis,
yeah.
they don't even need to look for a quarterback, in my
Oh,
opinion. They just
not
need
at
to
all.
shore up. They just need to shore up a little bit of the line, and obviously there's not much they could do about that mid-season. But
Yeah.
hopefully they could just hope to get better production out of that end because for the most part they have such great tools on offense. So
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
feel like I hate seeing teams like that because you see the potential for their offense, but it's always hard capped because of who they have running the plays.
Yeah.
But I agree with what you were saying also about it's just so hard. I just want to say this first. Since Sunday, I wanted to talk to you about this because
Yeah.
I knew that this was a donkey of the week moment for me. This
Okay.
right here. Do you know what I'm talking about right now?
Uh-uh.
Awesome. This is great. So, oh man, the second half there was the touchdown that the Giants scored. Yes, you
Mm-hmm.
love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Judge threw a challenge flag onto the field after a score touchdown from the from the other team, as if
Are
he
you
did not
serious?
know that every scoring play gets reviewed. He was charged a timeout for it. So that was
Yo,
the
I didn't
donkey
know
of
that.
the week moment for me. How do you do that? How do you go about doing that? My mic, give me one sec. My mic
Yeah, you good, man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Awesome. So yeah, that was the donkey of the week moment for me. How can you go about doing something like that? I know you're a second year head coach. Get your shit together, man. You
Yeah,
can't afford to be missing out on small moments like that when
yeah.
you have a team that's so prone to mistakes already.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be making mistakes like that as the play caller. But holy crap, man. I would say they have a lot of issues. And their main issue is they can't rely on their run game right now because of the issues with Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
So they're having to go to their passing game more and more often. And we already talked about this coming into the season. It's like just because you sign some, I guess, attractive options doesn't
Yeah.
mean that your offense is going to be totally fixed. And I think they definitely have a lot to address moving forward. I think there's going to be weeks where he shows flashes and he looks like he can be a good quarterback, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
like he's more so a great athlete than a great quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. I'm New York, they're just not that team, man. They're just not that team.
For sure.
I just don't trust them. Overall, on both sides of the ball, I just don't trust them. You
For
know,
sure.
and so yeah, I think Washington wins this. I'm not sure. I really don't predict scores. I I,
Yeah, me neither.
I try to, but that nah, I don't know about that.
Because
I
you're just never right.
Yeah,
There's no way
yeah.
you could ever be right.
Nah, that's why I like it's impressive to me when people actually can get it right or really close to it. Um, so yeah, Washington wins this one. I think it could be a close game. But then it could also be a blowout. I could see that.
For sure.
I could see that too. So I think McLaurin's gonna have a field day.
100%. 100%.
He's gonna have fun this week. So yeah, this is gonna be a very. Are you gonna watch this game? Is it gonna be a game you actually keep?
Not at all. No.
Yeah,
I'll
I
have
might
the
watch it
old
just for
red zone
fantasy.
on though.
Yeah, I might watch it just for fantasy, just to see how McLaurin looks. But I'm that's That'd be like the first half type of thing. I'm not watching that whole game at all.
100%,
At all.
especially with some of the other games in that 1 o'clock window.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
next up, after their stunning performance on Monday night, you have the Raiders going up against the Steelers. What do you think about this matchup?
I think the Steelers are gonna eat.
For sure.
The Steelers are gonna eat.
So I'm
Did,
saying,
didn't
hey
one of
Najee,
yeah. Oh yeah. And didn't the Raiders lose one of their offensive linemen?
yep.
So
And the other one is a rookie making mistakes every
yeah,
every
it's
so
like a
on.
left tackle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. This is not gonna be pretty. It's just not gonna be pretty for them.
For sure.
I think TJ Watt is gonna have he's gonna have a blast out there.
For sure.
I think it's gonna be a very fun game for him. So yeah, I'm picking the not Seattle. I'm picking the Steelers with that game.
Nice. I think this game is going to be a little closer than some people think, and I know that's easy for the Ravens fan to say, but I think that they showed some interesting stuff on that front seven. I know that
Yeah.
that's not going to be their forte at all throughout the season, but
Mm-hmm.
against this Steelers team, that's what you need. You need to be able to pressure the quarterback and stuff the run. And if there's any team they had a chance at doing that against, I think this would be a pretty good week. I think that is going to be a high scoring game, but at the same time, I definitely do agree with you. I think the Steelers are going to win this one. But I would say if they don't, that's something to keep note of, because
Yeah.
I personally feel like the fact that everyone's talking about the NFC West, rightfully so. That's an amazing division.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is also going to be one of the best divisions in the league, and every win sort of counts. And given that how my team is doing, I can only talk so much crap. But I think losing this one can be a problem for the Steelers if they do. So, especially riding the momentum the Raiders got. So I think it's going to be a chippy game. I think it's going to be a little bit more fun than people think, but I'm going with the Steelers too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely gonna be a chippy game. I agree with that.
All right. So next up, I'm gonna start on this one, and I'm gonna let you finish strong, man. We got the Niners up against the Eagles.
Yes, sir.
I know that you are excited about this for sure. I think that this is a good matchup. I think this is a good matchup for both teams to find out where both of them are. I
Mm-hmm.
think that that performance against the Falcons was awesome, for all the reasons that you mentioned, but offensively specifically. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where the test is in this game. I think the Niners defense versus the Eagles offense is where all the questions lie. I think that I agree. The Eagles have some good chances of stopping this team. I think that their running game is their main option, and then their passing game, they ate last week. I will
Oh yeah.
admit they ate last week, but
Yeah.
I don't know how replicable that is. I'm interested to see how that whole Jimmy G Trey Lance situation goes moving forward.
Yeah.
They keep bringing him in and getting everyone all hyped up, and then just
Yeah.
having them run a wildcat scheme or something.
Yeah.
I don't like that too much, to be honest. I think that can only just sort of lead to disgruntled players down the line,
Mm-hmm.
specifically Jimmy G.
Mm-hmm.
But I think ultimately, like you said, that the Eagles defensive line doing big things, I think can come up big in this game and really give them that edge to get over the Niners. Now, I'm not going to do it though. I'm gonna make you do it. I'm going with the Niners this week. I think that they're just, that division is just so good, man, and it's hard to count them out in any matchup.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this one is not going to be a high scoring one. I think this one will be closer, and I think the winner is going to be the one that has 24 points, and the loser is going to be around that 20-point range.
I get you on that. I think if I'm a Niners fan, I'm slick concerned that the Lions did what they did. I'm like, if I'm a Niners fan, I'm just that's what I'm looking at. I think that comparing the two teams, I just like Philadelphia's roster better. I think they're just a deeper team. Um and I think Jalen Hurts is one of the guys that come into the season, which I still don't get it. There were a lot of people that were doubting his ability, which I didn't understand because last year when he took over, everybody's like, oh, he's QB1. Now all of a sudden when Wentz is gone, now it's just like, oh, is Hurts the guy? Like you can't do that in a matter of a few months. That doesn't even make sense. Um, I think that seeing some of the things that he did against the Falcons, yes, to the Falcons, but a lot of people were picking the Falcons to win that, which I still don't understand. But yes, they were the Falcons, but I think it's just the way they played that made me feel like this is exactly what I thought they were going to do.
Mhm.
Um, I can't say this is going to be a blowout, um, but I I don't see it being a close game. I don't see it being a close game. I think if the Lions were able to hang up what 33 on them last
Mhm.
week, I think the Eagles could easily do that.
I would say be a little cautious just because a lot of that was garbage time points. A
It
lot of that
was.
they were
It
already
was.
down by 20 plus. But
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from, man. It's a good
Yeah.
shot. I think this is going
Yeah.
to be one of the more fun games this week for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree. I agree because I mean, the Niners defensive line, like that's not a line that you can just ignore. That they are good. It's a good team. So I think it's going to be a very entertaining game.
For
I'll
sure.
say
They're one
that.
of those teams that you could say they're in the top five as far as both of their lines, both sides of the
Yes.
ball. Both of
Yes.
their lines are really, really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it should be a good one for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm picking the Eagles, just so we're
Nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it all down. I got it all down.
clear.
49ers and then Eagles for you. All right, man. So next up, I wanted to ask you about the Browns because we
Oh
assume we
yeah.
know how this game is gonna go. It's Browns versus Texans this week. How did you feel about that game one against the Chiefs and how they played?
So there's two ways to look at it. It could be that you look at it and say um it was the Chiefs, it's Mahomes. That's why that turnaround happened. But the Browns were looking like they were
The
looking
Browns. They were looking like
phenomenal.
the
That
Browns.
they look really good in the beginning. Like and
Hmm.
then they browned up. I don't know what happened. I don't get it. I don't get it. It like they let up and then that was just it. So it could be you're looking at it saying that it was the Chiefs and that it's Mahomes and all that. You can say that. At the same time, they kind of gave it away. Like
I
like
agree.
so I I I I don't know how to predict this game because the Texans just like surprised the hell out of me last week. But I'm still gonna go with the Browns on this one. I'm still gonna go with them. They're the team that I trust more.
For sure. I
Yeah.
agree with you on everything you said, man. I think they looked spectacular in the first half, keeping them to what was it, 10 points, 7 points in the
Yeah.
first half.
Yeah.
Um and 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 not and in my opinion, doing it in a very smart way. They were running the ball well. They were
Mm-hmm.
eating the clock as best as they could. And then just towards the end, like you said, they browned up. I think
Yeah.
it's so hard to count on that too, though. Like it's hard to count on them messing up late game.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, regardless of how I feel about the Browns, I think if they are looking close to that first half performance every week, they're going to be a top 10 team, man. I think they look
Yeah.
really good. I think on both sides of the ball, they look very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about limiting those mistakes. And the fact that, I mean, it's just incredible. The fact that Mahomes is still undefeated against Baker and so many of these other different quarterbacks. Um, but like you said, I think it's fascinating that the Chiefs do this, and everyone's just always like, yeah, it's just the Chiefs. This is what you should expect.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they just like you said, man, they gave it away in a lot of ways. They definitely had the chance to keep that lead and stay on them,
Mm-hmm.
and they let it go. So I'm interested to see more so not this week because I think this is definitely should be a win in my opinion. But moving forward, I think it's important to keep an eye on how they're doing that, how they're managing the games, especially late game.
Yeah.
Because I could see them really trying to come out in the first half and score a lot of points, and then in the
Mm-hmm.
second half being very conservative. And in my opinion, just the way that their track record has been, I think that's the
Yeah.
worst idea ever. I think they should go more so in on trying to continue to capitalize on offense, trying to
Yeah.
keep both of their two-headed monsters at RB cooking, so
Yeah.
that way they're eating clock on top of doing what they do best. I mean, Chubb fumbling isn't something you ever bank on. That was
Mm-hmm.
a great play by the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
But moving forward, I think that their issues are mental. And it's hard to say that about
Yeah.
teams,
Yeah.
especially if they could get it together towards the end of the season. I think at the top end, they can be top 5 in that final 4
Mm-hmm.
situation in the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But they just have to limit those mental mistakes, and it's hard to count on anybody to do that. But I'm picking on
Yeah.
the Browns here too.
Yeah. I mean, and is Odell playing?
Yes,
So
Landry looked good last week too.
yeah, I mean, with Odell being out there, I think that was also another thing, another factor for last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think having him out there would have been I'm not sure they would have won that, but I don't know that they would have browned up as much.
For sure.
Let's
I
just
feel
say
you on
that.
that. I feel
Let's
you
just
on
say
that.
that. So yeah, yeah.
All right, man. Next up, we got the Broncos and the Jaguars. I think we could run through this one a little quickly. I
Oh
just
yeah.
want to say, I'll start it off. I think myself included, a lot of people are high on the Broncos. I
Mm-hmm.
think their performance against the Giants looked really good, but once again, just consider who they're playing against. I think
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of people had them in the top 16 now in the power rankings, which I kind of like to see. I think that's where they are more so than the 20 spot. But I would say be cautious. Be cautious. They're gonna look good this week too, but
Oh yeah.
they've had, in my opinion, one of the easiest schedules so far this season. So I would say they're definitely gonna win, but I feel like if there's a game right now that if Trevor Lawrence struggles and people are gonna start panicking, it's this game. I think that
Mm-hmm.
this defense is really good, man, especially in the secondary, and we already see that they're having some containment issues. So if
Yeah.
that continues on in this game, I think there could be potential for a bad loss here, man. I'm definitely going with the Broncos. I would say I'm tailoring my expectations, but if Bridgewater continues to play well, man, I think this team has a very high ceiling.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that I'm picking the Broncos for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think after last week, I can't bank on the Jaguars to definitively say that you're gonna do XYZ outside of
Mm-hmm.
definitively lose. Um, I think that I think the Broncos have a even losing Jerry Judy for a little while. I think they still have a great chance of keeping pace with how they played. Yeah, it was the Giants, but again, like I don't even know that I more so look at like the opponent anymore. I'm looking at the way that teams are playing. And the way they played last week was efficient, So like I'm not gonna I don't want to just disrespect them and say that it was the Giants and that they just weren't playing a team. Um they look good.
Agreed.
They just look good. And I agree. Bridgewater. Let me see how should I say this? I think Bridgewater could be a very good viable option in fantasy. I think he could be a viable at least as a backup.
Mm-hmm.
At least as a backup. I think he could be a very viable option. Because he's looking like himself. I mean, he looked like himself in Carolina as well. But to see that, that's still continuing and with barring any setbacks, I agree. I think the Broncos have a high ceiling. I think they do too. I think I like them. I like them.
Awesome too. On the
Yeah.
last thing on that, I think Von Miller was quoted saying that he hasn't seen leadership in that locker room like this since 18 was there, and that's high praise, man.
Wow. Wow.
From a great player as well.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to see what they turn in this season. Next up, we got the Saints versus the Panthers. I think game is sneaky good.
This is gonna
What,
be
what
one
are
of
you what are
those.
you thinking?
Yeah, I think this is gonna be one of those games that could potentially be it can go either way, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it's a division game, so I think they always get up for each other. Like this is one of those games where you can't again, you can't be definitive because it's a division game. This is hard to choose. But seeing the way that Jameis looked and the way that offense looked, I'm gonna go with the Saints. I'm gonna roll with the Saints on this one.
Nice.
I'm gonna roll with them on this one. I think the Panthers are gonna still be. I think they're gonna do a good job. I don't think this is gonna be a blowout at all. I think this is gonna be a close game, mainly because it's a division game, and those the my favorite division games to watch are the NFC South and the NFC East division games. Those never disappoint. It doesn't matter who's playing. Like those matchups are always fun to watch. So yeah, I'm gonna pick the Saints on this one, but it's gonna be I think it'll be a close game.
Nice, man. I'm struggling with this one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
Yeah,
struggling with this one.
yeah,
Because I feel the same way as you. I think that what we saw um last week, in my opinion, from the Panthers wasn't their best game, and
yeah,
they ran away with it.
yeah.
And I think there's potential for that being the Saints' highlight of the season. I think it's
Yes,
so strange. I feel like with Jameis, you can point to this as, that was the moment that we knew he was going to be a top 10 QB this season, or that was the moment that we knew would never happen again. Like
yeah,
it could
yeah,
be either of those
yeah,
on that week one bounce back. So I'm really interested to see how this one goes. I personally love the McCaffrey and Kamara matchup.
Oh man,
Just who's gonna eat the most, and because both of them are gonna eat, regardless of what's going on. I personally, man, I really want to pick the Panthers here, but I just can't. I
I
think the
know.
Saints defense is so reliable, especially in this matchup. I think they're gonna give them a lot of problems. But watch out for Robbie Anderson. I think Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson really liking playing with each other.
Yeah,
So that'll be something to watch out for. But I'm going with the Saints as well.
yeah. Oh, and real quick, OBJ will not be playing.
Oh, he won't. Interesting. Interesting.
They just ruled him out.
Okay. And no timetable on that.
Now it just says he just won't be playing against Houston,
Awesome.
and Saquon is questionable.
All right. Good to know. So next up, this one is a tough one, man. I really feel bad for the Colts here. You got the LA Rams coming up against the Colts, man. You and I were on the fence about last week's matchup, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Could have went either way, and that's how the game played out. I think it was a really close game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, both teams sort of did what they do, and Seattle ended up just doing it way better.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to Seattle later, but
Oof.
um, man, this division is so good, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can't get over it. Like every time I get a chance to talk about it with these four teams, I'm going to talk about it because it's
Yeah.
crazy. But just a historic game from
Yeah.
Stafford. I
Yeah.
mean, literally the highest QB rating of his entire career in his debut. You can't ask for more than that.
Yeah.
Just an awesome performance. And against this defense, I think it's not going to be that easy. I think it's going to be nowhere near as easy. And don't get me wrong, the Bears have a great defense historically, but I think that this Colts defense definitely underperformed week one.
Yes.
I think that they're going to look better this week and give him some issues, especially in the running game. I don't know if you watched the full length of the Chicago game, but they did a very good job at opening up the field and then getting great run yardage on
Yeah.
second downs
Yeah.
after opening up the field, which is very rare. Usually it's the opposite way around.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, and this is once again the LA Rams. That was the suspect thing coming into the season, whether or not their running game could keep up with their passing game.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be happening every week of the season.
Yeah.
I think moving forward, there's a big chance that they are who we thought they were on the running end of the ball. But I think this is the game where you sort of get that question answered, whether or not they're able to have some success late game with Henderson. I think honestly that it's going to be tough. I think there's going to be a lot of punting in this game, but I
Mm-hmm.
think ultimately, um, if Aaron Donald is able to step up in a way that he did in week one, I think that opens up this game to be much easier for the Rams. But right now, I'm definitely going to be picking the Rams. I think that once again, their ceiling for who they are on both sides of the ball is just higher than the Colts right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see a situation where it's a gritty, grimy game and it's real close going into the fourth, and the Colts have a chance to finish up nice with Wentz.
Yeah. I'm gonna be completely honest, bro. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for this one because Wentz going against Aaron Donald, that even when he was in Philly, I was always nervous because we know the injury history. We like it's there's no need to go down that rabbit hole. It that's the thing that concerns me. That matchup right there because Wentz looked he looked better than I thought he would look. Um, and for not just coming off the foot surgery, but I don't see how Indiana wins this game. I don't see how they win this. It's like we talked about last week. Stafford to me is my MVP for the year. I think he's going to end up winning it. Um, I think he's going to be able to pick that defense apart. I'm not saying that they're going to. I think he's going to pick the secondary apart. Let me say that. I think that he will get hit a couple of times, but he's got so many options, man. He's got so many options, and I just don't see how the Rams loses. If the Rams lose this game, I think it's going to be it's just I'm not gonna say it's panic time. It's way too early for panic time, but it's gonna be like, that was the game. You should have won that. You definitely should have won that game. So I'm going with LA on this one. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. It's gonna be very interesting because like especially like I'm thinking about even like the run game for Indianapolis. Like how well are they gonna do against that line? I like this is the one that I'm just kind of like I'm hung up on. I really don't. I'm more so like, and I love the options that Indiana that the Colts have, but I don't know that I trust them against this team. Mm-hmm. I think Jalen Ramsey's going to have a lot of fun this week. I think he's going to have a lot of fun. So I think we'll end up seeing. I'm gonna throw a wild prediction out. I think Ramsey can get two picks in this one.
Wow, that's a big one. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I think he get 2 picks in this one. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, but Rams win.
Rams big. I like it, man. I like it. Moving on, we've got the Bills and the Dolphins, man. This is a sneaky game. I really feel like
it is.
I really feel like the Dolphins looked amazing against the Patriots. Brian Flores, I mean, I don't know if this is a hot take.
Yeah.
I feel like they out Patriots the Patriots. Do you understand what I mean? Like they kept it grimy and they came up with the big play at the end to really finish off the game. And I think that I don't know how often they can do that. But I just thought that was a great performance, especially from the coaching side of it. What are some things to look out for in this game as far as how this one should play out?
I'm gonna be completely honest. And I don't know how to fully pronounce his name. Gesicki, is that how you pronounce it? I'm like I didn't watch that game, but I'm slick kind of concerned that he didn't get any targets, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the part of it that kind of concerned me from a tight end position. Like he should have been targeted. Mm-hmm. He should have been targeted. Like, like I'm not saying that he was gonna blow up the defense, but he should have been targeted. And I don't really because I didn't watch the game. I'm not going to sit here and say whose fault that was. I'm not going to say that was on two. I'm not going to say that was on the coaching. But I do find that interesting that he wasn't even targeted. And they got Fuller coming back this week, right? Miami. They got Fuller coming back this week, right?
If I'm not mistaken, Fuller is on the Raiders.
Is he? I thought he was in Miami. No, he's in Miami.
Oh, he is? Okay, I'm bugging. Is he playing this week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's gonna take touches or targets away from Gesicki. So like, I don't know. That's the question that I have with Miami. Um, and it's a big fantasy question. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
it's
for
not
sure.
even it's not even more so about him as a player. It's just like on a fantasy front, um, like why that was a thing. But I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a massive drop for him in fantasy if the same thing happens in this game. I expect Buffalo to win this one. I think Josh Allen has a lot to prove from last week. So I think this is going to be the game where he does it. And I'm hoping he does because again, he's in like I have him in like 4 teams fantasy. So I'm praying to God that happens. But I think that the Bills win this game and get back on track.
Nice.
I think they do.
I agree, man. I think this one is gonna be. I don't think this one's gonna be particularly close. I think that
Mm-mm.
the Bills are gonna be coming out with a point to prove in this game,
Yeah.
and I think that what the Dolphins showed in that Patriots game is not a bad thing, but in a way, it isn't a good thing either. And it's that
Yeah.
they're in a situation where they want to manage this offense. It's not at that big play level yet. It's more
Yeah.
so let's get dink and dumps and let's move down the field. And it's a great way to play. But I don't know if their defense is as strong in order to allow that style of play to work.
Yeah.
Obviously, I like Xavier Howard more than anyone. I think he's a great player and it came up big in that game. But um, how much can you count on one person to really
Yeah.
bolster everything? And
Yeah.
and that's what
Yeah.
it's about. I think the Bills come out strong in this one and look good, but tempered expectations once again because even in this matchup, I think it'll be crazy to see the Dolphins look dominant defensively. I think if that happens, then
Mm-hmm.
100% Bills fans should be pressing the panic button
Oh yeah.
after the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I think more so than some of the games we spoke about earlier. I think this one is going to be one that sort of we point to and say, from this point forward, we know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that if the Dolphins could keep it close, that says a lot more about the Dolphins than the Bills, in my opinion. I think
That's
that
interesting.
they should be if they're able to keep it close
Mm-hmm.
and do certain things that they did against the Patriots offensively. Who knows, man? I don't think they have upset potential here at all. I think that the
Yeah.
Bills are going to come out and win no matter what. But if they could keep it close, I think Dolphins fans have a lot to look forward to this season.
Oh yeah. I think in general they just have a lot to look forward to. I think they have good pieces in place,
Mhm.
coaching. Like I think it's just a matter of, you know, being able to be
Growth
patient.
and
Yeah.
growth, exactly.
Yeah. Growth. Yeah. Yeah. So Bills better win this one.
Yep, yep.
They better.
All right. So next up, we've got another fun one. We got a division matchup game. No, I lied entirely. I lied. Forget that. We got Bengals versus Bears.
Oh
Bengals
man.
came away with a sneaky overtime victory against the Vikings in Week 1,
Yeah.
which I called. Man,
Yeah, you did.
I
Yeah.
got you on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was I was a little
Yeah.
nervous. I was a little nervous, but
Yeah.
um, I think this game is gonna be a shit show in the best of ways. I think I think that the Bears are gonna do Bears things.
Yeah.
I think that once again on the high end, the Bengals offense, they have the potential to do so good.
Yeah.
Um, do I count on them to do that against the Bears? Not really.
Mm.
Um, and what's crazy about that is uh with the Bears' whole offensive situation, I think no matter what happens,
Mm-hmm.
that side of the ball is a little short up for the Bengals. We know we're not expecting much from them defensively.
Yeah.
So if they could get a couple of stops here and there, I think there should be no reason why the Bengals should lose this game.
Yeah.
The offensive side of the ball, they're just 10 times more explosive right now
Yeah.
than the Bears are.
Yeah.
But at the same token, I could see Montgomery just going off. That's another fantasy option that not a lot of
Yes.
people talk about. I think honestly, if you could package a deal right now for a high end, for a low end RB that went off on Week 1,
Mm-hmm.
and try to get Montgomery this week, I think that's one of the best sneaky moves you could do on this early off season because he is going to carry this team this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
regardless of what they're doing, he's going to be the one that's going to be 100% accountable every single week. That you're going to get production out of him.
Right.
Um, I think this game shouldn't be competitive either. Um, but if they, who knows, man, they could let Justin Fields loose and make it a fun game. I think the saddest part about it, um, is that they're getting the fan base's appetite wet. They're getting him out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're seeing him do great things, and just the reaction of the team to his touchdown, I think,
Hmm.
was so telling.
It was.
Um, they want him in there. Like
It
there's
was.
no reason there's
Yeah.
no reason why he shouldn't be in there because in
Yeah.
my opinion he gives them the best chance to win, and they're trying to win. So what are you doing? But
Yeah. I
once
don't think
again,
they know.
yeah, true.
I really don't think they know. I
For sure.
think the one of the sad parts of the Bears off season is that they went and signed Jason Peters.
Hmm.
That I don't understand that. I love Peters, but I don't understand it. And just like clockwork, dude goes down with an injury
Hmm.
again. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was
Yep.
before the second half. So they're completely exposed on the left side. Um, so they have no other choice but to try and get their run game going. Like I agree, Montgomery is going to eat this year. Um, how long is it that we have to wait until they make Fields the guy? I like it. It was completely night and day when Andy Dalton was out there versus Fields.
Mhm.
It was completely night and day. So yeah, I think they're facing who again?
The Bengals.
Bengals. Bengals win this one. I don't see how they lose it. To be completely honest, like
Sure.
I still have questions on their offensive line. I'm not just because I got it wrong last week. I'm not gonna stray away from that. I
Mhm.
still believe that that offensive line is something that they need to address. Um, but Chase and Burrow's connection was you can't it's undeniable. Like I think that does help them a lot, but I think they're going to slightly struggle this week because of the fact that uh, you're going against Khalil Mack. You know what I'm saying? I think that's going to be one of the biggest things for them. Um, I think that Chicago. Oh man, if I'm a Bears fan, this is gonna be a long year. It's gonna be a long year, man. I mean, this is gonna suck.
For
this
sure.
is this is really gonna suck because again, like you said, Fields just makes sense, and you can see that the fan base is starving to see him there, like playing, like the idea of swapping. That's that's one thing that confused me completely with this week. Both the 49ers and the Bears doing that thing where you're bringing the rookie in for specific plays. I don't know that I agree with that. I really don't. Either you throw him out there or you just leave him on the sideline because it doesn't make sense to keep doing that. Now the Niners, Garoppolo is probably more reliable than Dalton, but that's not saying much to me. I don't know, bro. Cincinnati's win this game, but I'm confused as hell as to what the Bears are doing.
Agreed, man. And once again, we talked about this fan base. This is the fan base that got Anthony Miller paid. Never
Yeah,
forget that.
yeah,
Never
yeah,
forget that because he caught a couple of deep balls and everyone thought he was a great wide receiver.
yeah,
So
yeah,
any sort of like glimmer of hope, they're gonna
yeah,
jump on immediately.
yeah,
Which makes the situation even worse, man. Like you said, I think if you have them, play them. If you're trying to lose like on purpose, then you should have made some moves to make that more evident to your players. Because at the end of
yeah.
the day, I really feel like everyone is out there trying to compete,
Mhm.
and the management is shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, Bengals
It's
in this one
weird.
for
And
sure.
Khalil Mack, I feel so bad for him.
Mhm.
I feel so bad for him. You leave the Raiders, go here, or you trade it rather, but it's almost like the same situation. It's
Literally.
like it doesn't make any sense.
And
So
you're watching the old situation get better. You're watching them figure it out,
it's the
and you're
weirdest
not.
thing.
Yeah.
It just it doesn't make sense. So like, how long is it gonna be before he pushes his way out?
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
tough.
I don't know. That's that.
It's
Yeah,
tough.
that's very tough.
I just
I
think
feel
I think
so
it's real
bad for him.
appropriate that our little preview sketch was us talking about this team
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they just
yeah.
have so many issues and a lot of them are self-inflicted.
Most definitely.
So next up, this game should be a one-sided affair. We got the Patriots against the Jets.
Oh yeah,
Before we get into the matchup, how did you feel about Zach Wilson's debut?
I didn't watch it.
That's fair. That is fair.
I did not watch it. That was not a game that I was like, oh, I gotta go see. Nah,
Mhm.
I didn't care about that game at all. Christian McCaffrey was, he's on one of my fantasy teams, so of course I cared about it from that perspective.
Perspective,
But
yeah.
nah, oh, actually, I got Davis as my wide receiver, and I
Okay.
think to
He scored.
Corey Davis. So
Yep.
yeah, of course I cared, but I didn't care about watching
You
it.
see,
That
yeah, I feel
wasn't
you.
that wasn't that wasn't it.
If you get a chance, check out that QB that pass to Corey Davis. It was a scramble. He ran outside the pocket, very Herbert-esque, and then threw it cross body to Davis and got the touchdown. I
Oh
think
really?
there's a lot of once again, this is another one of those moments where it's just like you're so good, you're bad.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah,
he's good, man. And I think they're happy to be in this position. They got somebody that you can point to and say, looking forward, we got a glimmer of hope here.
hmm
But they're so bad on the line that they just got him destroyed, man. In the first
yeah,
half, he looked horrible because they didn't protect him, and that's what
yeah,
he has to get used to, which is so sad in any rookie QB situation. But usually that's how it is. There's a reason why they
yeah.
have those picks. There's a lot of issues besides just the QB position.
hmm
So on the upside wise, I think they shouldn't be upset at all. But I think as far as the production, him getting those turnovers, that's not even on him, in my opinion, from watching
Yeah,
the game.
yeah, yeah,
I think a lot of it is on the line. And just once again, I expect them to be bad moving forward. I don't expect them to be good, but he looked good, man. I think he has a big arm. He has an NFL ready arm.
good. Yeah,
And if they can protect them, I think they're going to be much better off on the offensive side of the end. But that shouldn't even matter because their
yeah,
defense sucks too. So they're not going to be able to even if they're doing well offensively, they shouldn't
yeah,
be a good team in my opinion. I think they're going to be top 5 pick again.
yeah,
But we got something to be excited about. Who knows? Maybe he goes off against the Patriots, and now that division rivalry gets a little heated up. But
yeah,
I think no matter what, the Patriots come out looking great here, and Mac Jones just goes off.
yeah. No, I agree. The Patriots win this game, but I think the points you made about the Jets, just I think that's kind of like why it confused me with why they drafted. I'm sorry, why they moved on from Darnold and then drafted Wilson, because if your offensive line is trash, it doesn't matter who's back there.
Mhm.
Short of it being Jesus Christ, I don't see how how you succeed. I really don't. I think that they set him up for failure for this season. Um, I think in my mind it would have been better just keeping Darnold. Not that Wilson isn't a good quarterback, but in my mind it'd have been better if they just kept Darnold and built the line. It would have made a little more sense to me. If you're trying to win games, that's the thing. I don't know that the Jets are trying to actually win right now, like that. So I think that's why it's kind of like, like if you're looking at it from a winning perspective, it made no sense. If you're looking at it from just kind of like getting by, okay, all right, that makes sense. But yeah, their defense isn't anything to really worry about either. So yeah, I I'd be shocked if the Patriots lost this game.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I was honestly shocked that they lost against the Dolphins. So
Yeah, yeah,
definitely
yeah,
it should be an easy one for them to clear out.
yeah.
This one it should be an easy one to talk about too. Next up, we got the Falcons against the Buccaneers. First of all, what do you think about? Okay, let's start with Dak. Let's start with Dak. What do you think that says about their defensive situation when Dak went off the way he did? And in my opinion, they got away with the win only because they have Brady on their team.
Well, they did. Yeah, yeah.
That's the only reason, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah. That is. I mean, Dak, Dak looked impressive for him not having an like being active in preseason or anything like that. Like this is his first time on the field. Like I thought he looked phenomenal. And I hate talking about the Cowboys in any positive light.
I
But
know.
I thought he looked phenomenal. I think I will say though, I think where he looks positive, put it like this. I think Dak is going to be to the Cowboys what your point is about Brady being to Tampa for last week. I think they only win certain games because of Dak. I like Zeke is a non-factor to me. And I
For
like I said
sure.
that last week. Zeke is the worst running back in the division. I don't like this. It's clear as day. Um, but I think, like you said, I think it's a little bit of indictment on Tampa's defense that they were able to look the way they looked because Dallas's offensive line isn't like spectacular. You know what I'm saying? They missed Martin,
Mhm.
you know, Zach Martin. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know. And they had a couple of injuries. What's his name? Gallup was gone after I think like the first or second quarter.
Mhm.
So if you can't capitalize on stuff like that, it's kind of weird that you know still win a game. So I think that there's no question Tampa wins this game. This
For
is
sure.
like Jesus, bro. Like oh my god. Brady, I'm almost tempted to start Brady.
You should, because he likes messing with the Falcons specifically.
The only reason why yeah, because like with his message this week, you saw he had 328 in the background on the clock.
Hmm.
Like, so it's like, come on, bro. So I the only reason why I'm questioning is because I have Mahomes as my starter. So that's why I'm like, I don't know like who I start because I see both sides. Like it's just gonna be they're gonna get I don't know. I
Yeah,
really don't know.
I think you start Mahomes. I have Mahomes in one league, and you know my team's name is that league.
Yeah, what?
Chilling with my homies. That's my team
Oh,
name.
nice. Oh, that's
Because
that's
you got
good.
to play him every week. You got to play him every
Yeah,
week.
yeah. Tom Brady's gonna pick this team apart, and hmm, I you know how you know you had the mercy rule
Hmm.
in certain.
We're gonna need to pull out the
We
mercy
might
rule
need
today.
him. We might need to pull that out. this is this is one of those games. They might not score more than 6 or 7 points in this game.
Exactly. And my
Uh,
favorite part about that too is the same defense that we were having questions about. There's gonna be many clips of them sacking, getting sacks this week. Just
yeah,
it's tough.
yeah.
It's
Oh yeah, yeah. That offensive line is just that. Oh my god,
horrendous.
you might as well put a paper up there, man. Like they're not gonna hold back anything.
Literally.
So yeah,
Yep. Bucks and
blowout.
easy. Bucks and easy. So this one, this is the one where I was watching the game and I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what, man? This dude Derrick has his shit together. He knows what the fuck he's talking about. Cardinals against Vikings. The Cardinals look absolutely amazing in week one. Way better than anyone could have expected.
Chandler
But I
Jones got
got
five
someone right
sacks.
here that called it. God damn. I'm gonna let you finish off here, but I just wanted to say 5 sacks for Chandler Jones. Shout out John Jones. That family is insane.
Yeah,
Insane.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I would say their line isn't even what impressed me the most, man. They're so
yeah,
explosive.
yeah.
And Another great option too that's available in almost all leagues is Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Pick him up if you can. He had 2 touchdowns. Man, they look awesome, and that's another sneaky MVP candidate right there.
Oh yeah.
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, Kyler Murray, most definitely. And to be completely honest, when I was making my MVP prediction, I forgot about Kyler Murray. I don't even know why. I just forgot. But it was like seeing what Stafford has. It was kind of like, oh yeah, Kyler Murray could definitely get that MVP, bro. Like it's 5 sacks for Chandler Jones, and Murray looked like he looked sensational out there. I don't see how they lose this game. Honestly, I really don't. They are a very well balanced team as well, both sides of the ball. And I think when you have a team that's just that balanced, I, it's hard. It's hard to lose. It's hard to lose. Like things have to fall your way to lose to win a game against those type of teams. So, yeah, I'm choosing the Cardinals. There's
For sure.
that is if how should I say this? I think the Cardinals have potential to be one of the top 5 teams on both sides this year.
Hmm,
I think they have potential for it.
for sure.
This I don't know if I'm gonna. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This is gonna be another blowout. I don't see how the Vikings do much with this game. I really don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say this game really is gonna accentuate a lot of the things we said about the Bengals. I think this game is
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
show us
yeah,
how competitive that game was in week 1 with the Bengals versus how easy it was for the Cardinals to dispatch them this week. I
yeah,
think I was really surprised too by how well they did running the ball.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
thought losing Drake would have hurt them a little bit, but it really didn't. They didn't skip a beat.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, man, I agree with everything you said. I think that both sides of the ball they look dominant. And once again, can we talk about this division? How is this still, in my opinion, still the 4th best team in this division? It's crazy.
That is wild to think about. That's wild because they could easily win the division.
Exactly.
They
Exactly.
they easily could. I mean, oh my god, oh my god. I just thinking about it. It's very. It's gonna be an interesting season. It's gonna be a
For sure.
very interesting season. Ah, I don't know. I don't
For
have anything
sure.
else to say.
I feel like this may be a hot take. I feel like that's a historically great division, just based off of week
I,
1
oh yeah,
performances as
yeah, yeah,
well.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that division is going to be great to watch for sure.
yeah. They're gonna be great to watch this year for sure. It's gonna be fun, and I think when they face off against each other, like how I said, NFC South and East matchups are usually my favorite to watch.
Hmm. These are
I'm
going to be crazy
yeah, those are gonna be some great matchups.
for sure.
Yeah,
So next up, we have the team that the Cardinals beat. We have the Titans going up against the Seahawks. This is another really sneaky game where I feel
yeah,
like the Titans really can be almost shut out of the season at week
yeah,
2.
yeah, yeah.
What do you feel about this matchup?
uh Seattle's not playing around, bro. And I'm not saying that the
Mm,
Titans are playing around, but the Seahawks just they're on a mission. Um, it's very weird to have doubt with the Titans because of the fact you see who they have, like with Julio being there, Brown being there, and Henry. Like they should be in every game.
that's my all Madden team. If I'm playing Madden this
Yeah,
season, it's the
yeah,
Titans.
yeah, yeah. It's just, uh, bro. I can't pick against the Seahawks. That team is just stupid.
For sure.
Stupid good, man. Yeah, Seahawks win this one. I think it's gonna be weird for the Titans to be 0-2. Like especially knowing who they have on the team. But I really don't think that's an indictment on like their season. I think that's the luck of the draw.
For sure. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. I
I
don't
agree.
think it's an indictment on them at all.
Yeah, I like to try to mix it up and have some division between our picks, but this week we basically got all the
Yeah,
same picks, I swear.
yeah,
I think that if you saw that week 1 game against the Colts and you weren't impressed by the Seattle Seahawks offense, you weren't watching.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
they
Or
weren't
you didn't know
expected.
what you were watching.
Exactly, exactly. They weren't expected to do so well,
Yeah.
and on top of that, the way that they executed down the stretch, those deep balls to Lockett. I mean, they just have so many different levels to their offense,
Yeah.
and I think you really look back. Once again, we're overreacting. We're week two,
Yeah.
but if you really look back at that Seahawks Super Bowl team, this is the same formula. They got a
Yes.
defense. They got a defense that makes plays.
Yeah.
They got a running back that could get them first downs, like Chris Carson, and they have deep offensive threats that they can go to every single drive. I think that
Yeah. And they
if
have Metcalf.
literally, and that's not even talking about Metcalf. Their team is insane. I think that they have a big chance of being in that top four once again,
Mhm.
and I think that I won't be surprised if this is a crazy game. I won't be surprised
Yeah.
if the Titans do very, very well. I think that they need a bounce back game, but even in that scenario, I can't. Even if Henry goes off, I can't imagine a situation where they don't come out with the win here. I think that just a balance of attack on offense, and also this is gonna sound silly, but hearing on that Monday funny stream that they had with Russell Wilson and the Manning brothers,
Mm-hmm.
just hearing him talk about offense
Yeah.
like he's on another level. He's
Yeah.
really on another
Yeah.
level, and a lot of people sleep on him. Fantasy wise, he's never slept on, but a lot of people sleep on him as far as like a top five quarterback.
Yeah.
I
Which I don't
think
understand.
literally, I think if they would have traded him for Aaron Rodgers, that would have been the hugest mistake they could have done. Because
Yeah.
and that's easy to say after this week,
Yeah.
but I think his potential long term is so much higher, and he has the ability to move out of the pocket. It's just insane. There's
Yeah.
so many good things to talk about with this team. I definitely think that this should be a fun one, but I think the Seahawks come out on top.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Awesome. So we're almost at the night game. We're almost at the night game. Next up, and the last one in that little late window, we got the Cowboys against the Chargers. Man, this game is gonna be fun as hell. I'm excited for this
I'm
one.
watching
I'm
this one.
really excited for this one.
Yeah.
I think that this may be a little bit of a hot take here, but I think that everyone is going to be talking about how great Dak is and how confused they are that the Cowboys are 0-2.
Yeah. Yes.
I think Dak is going to
Yes.
go off this game. I think he's going
Yeah.
to go off. But it's not going to be enough, man. I think this team is so good. They didn't look as amazing against Washington, but
Mm-hmm.
that's against Washington, and you still put up 20 points. That's a lot more than most people could ask for, in my opinion. And against this team's defense,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
gonna have so much of a better time. I wouldn't be surprised if they score 40 points. Like, I really wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why I'm saying pick up Mike Williams right now. Pick him up.
Yeah. Yeah.
This matchup specifically is going to be a nightmare for the Cowboys. I think they're just going to have to hope that they have the ball last. It's going to be one of those games.
Yes. Yes. I agree with that. I agree with that. I think that I feel bad for Dak, honestly. I truly feel bad for him because he's going to do every single thing he can do. And despite me being an Eagles fan, I'm actually a fan of Dak. I actually when he was coming in through the draft, I was hoping we would draft him. So like I love Dak, but I don't see how the Cowboys win this game. And that like I know people think that's just because I'm an Eagles fan. I'm saying this. I don't see how they win it. The Chargers look. Oh my God, Herbert is going to have fun with that secondary. Herbert is going to have so much fun with that secondary. I think specifically he's going to target Diggs. I truly believe that, and like Diggs is a good player, but that yeah, Herbert is gonna go off. I think, like you said, Williams is gonna go off. That defense is going to, oof. I don't know that I'm going to say it's a blowout, but I think it possibly could be. I think it could be. I think Dak is going to keep them in. I think Dak's going to keep them in. I think he's gonna do whatever he can to make sure um, that they stay close, or that they get the ball back. On defense, I think uh, uh, Micah Parsons is I think he looked good. Of course, he was going against Brady, so you got those rookie mistakes, but I think he's going to do what he can to get that ball back. I just don't think that they're going to be able to do anything with it.
Hmm. Yeah, man, it's crazy. And I would say young aspiring QBs, if anybody, look at Herbert. A lot of
Yeah.
people are sleeping on Herbert. He didn't. He yeah, it's only 20 points. Say whatever you want. His presence in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's at 60 beats per minute, dude.
Mm-hmm.
He is so calm
Yeah.
with people right in front of him, and he's able to get off little post routes, little small things, not huge big arm plays. And he
Yeah.
has that big arm. So
Yeah.
if you're able to do both as a quarterback, you're, in my opinion, you already are top 10. And he's a sophomore QB.
Mm-hmm.
So just so much potential on the offensive end from that team, and just doing it the right way. Um, it's going to be a fun QB battle to watch. I just think
It
that
is.
the Chargers defense has so much more potential to make plays down the stretch than the Cowboys defense.
Yeah.
And that's where it lies. It lies about getting that ball back last.
Yeah. No, I
But all
agree.
right.
I agree.
Now, now it's time for me to start crying, isn't it? Now's the time for me to start crying. We got our night game, Chiefs versus Ravens, a historically great game to watch. I'm going to start off by saying I think this game is going to be fun. Do I think we're going to win? Not at all. But I think we have a lot to prove coming off of week one. I think in the first half, we looked way better than I even thought we could have.
Yeah.
The second half, just a comedy of errors. And I'll admit that. I think that, once again, I don't think you could bank on a lot of those errors, but um, historically, the Chiefs have been so good against us, against the
Mm-hmm.
Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine picking against them at all in this scenario, especially after the performance. I mean, say whatever you want about Mahomes. Tyreek almost had 200 yards last week, and,
Yeah.
and both of those plays were sort of just a go find it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he does that every game. It feels like if you drafted him, you're in a great position this year. But
Yeah.
I think defensively, the issue is you really got to put it on Mahomes early, like the
Mm-hmm.
Browns did, like
Mm-hmm.
the Chargers did last year, like the
Mm-hmm.
Raiders did. You got to put it on him early
Mm-hmm.
and really make him have those doubts early on in the game.
Mm-hmm.
If that could happen, I could see a scenario where it's a much closer game going into the fourth. But if
Yeah.
they're up ahead and they have even two touchdowns by the second quarter, it's over. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's really safe to say that it's over. I'm hoping that this game is competitive. I'm hoping the Ravens show a lot here, but I have to go with the Chiefs.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that oh man. I feel so bad for the Ravens because I feel like there's going to be this narrative. And again, I don't watch ESPN or FS1, so I don't know if this is already a narrative, but I feel like toward the midpoint of the season, there's going to be a lot of questions about whether uh, Lamar Jackson can do it, or if he's the guy, or you know, if they're not winning the Super Bowl in the next 2 years, what do you do with Lamar? Like I think there's gonna be a lot of those types of questions. And the sad part about it is that when people talk about things like that, they're not adding context to it. You guys are experiencing what we've experienced for the last 2-3 years. All those injuries happen, and then like everybody looks at the QB like, what the hell's going on? It's not on the QB. It's the luck of the draw again. Like when you have three running backs that go down with season-ending injuries, Marcus Peters goes down. Like what are you supposed to do?
Exactly.
What are you supposed to do? And I think one of your offensive linemen went down too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what Lamar, like what the expectations are for him right now, because you're basically you you're expecting like almost like third string players to come up and step up and give the same type of production. That's
Exactly.
that's that's pretty impossible to do, right? Like so like I get it. I understand like you're gonna have a lot of arguments this year. You're gonna have a lot of arguments because it's just everybody's gonna start saying, "Oh, the Ravens are trash." The Ravens aren't trash. The Ravens are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. There's a difference. Like the Texans are trash. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't say that's the case. I think it's just you're gonna lose this game. You're definitely gonna lose this game. But like you said, I think it's very possible that it could be made to where it's not like a blowout. Like we saw what the Raiders try to do defensively against Lamar. They couldn't stop him a lot of times. And the moments that they were able to stop him, that's when they actually capitalized. Um, so I really don't know that. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. Well, I know the outcome is going to be the Ravens are losing the game, but I don't know in terms of like if it's going to be a big, if it's going to be a blowout or if it's going to be like a close game. I think it has potential to be a close game. I definitely do. You have Bateman coming back pretty soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't.
I don't know if it's this week though.
It might be within the next 2 weeks though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that this is one of those seasons where you look at it and just automatically say, oh yeah, just throw it away. I don't think you do that, but I think at the same time, temper expectations.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And just to wrap up on this, I agree, man. I think obviously the injuries hurt so much, but I think another thing that really hurts that not a lot of people's talking about is losing Orlando Brown. I think he looked great, and then Charlie Villanueva looked terrible, and I feel like it makes more sense now. I was one of these people too. I'm saying, Pittsburgh's line got worse,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe there was a reason why they let him go. After
yeah.
seeing Week 1, any issue on that, any issue as far as pressure was coming from that side.
Hmm.
And that's hard to see when you came out and you didn't draft this guy. You paid for him. You got him in free agency.
Hmm.
So I'm really interested to watch how the line holds up. Because against this team specifically, you need that protection.
Hmm.
The longer you can stay protected against the Chiefs, the better you have at making them look silly downfield. I
Yeah.
think the more you got people like Jones running at you and making hell, that's the
Yeah.
last thing you need. I think it does open some things up for Lamar to get big plays,
Hmm.
but they've been historically good at containing. So definitely starting off 0-2 in a division like this is really tough, man. Really
Hmm.
tough.
Yeah.
That's what upsets me the most. That's what has me, rooting like I'm gonna win anyway. But
Yeah. And you
you
should.
definitely gotta pick the Chiefs here.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Our last game, Packers against Lions. I think this game is sneaky interesting, given how Week 1 went.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think?
It's weird to say this, but I think the Lions could actually win this game.
Me too.
It feels so weird to say that. Like, but then at the same time, I could also see where Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers and picks that defense apart. Okuda went down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could see an opening.
Yeah.
I could see an opening. I wouldn't be shocked if the Lions won this one, but I'm not betting against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I'm picking the Packers in this one, but I think it's gonna be a lot closer than a lot of people think. I do not think it's gonna be a blowout.
100%. I think
Not at
I
all.
think the Lions scoring 30 against the Niners says more about the Lions than it does about the Niners. I know you
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah,
earlier that there's some problems. I think they looked all right. I
yeah.
think considering all the talk coming into the season, there's a lot of stuff on Goff's shoulders. I'm gonna admit that.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's anointed Stafford after he left, and it's just like, thank you. We finally found the answer, and I can only imagine how that feels for him.
Yeah, yeah,
But man, he didn't look bad. He didn't look
yeah,
bad,
yeah.
and I think this game coming up against a team that looked that way,
Mm-hmm.
um, you got to be confident. And I think if they come out strong, like I honestly think that they can shake the whole league up by
Yeah.
beating the Packers. I think the main issue for me though is they're just so in my opinion, their weapons on offense is so bad that
Yeah.
even with improved QB play compared to whoever you want to compare it to,
Hmm.
I think they're not going to be doing too well even at the high end. But who knows, man? Who knows? It could be a close game. I personally, like you said, I can't bet against the Packers. I'm going with the Packers. But if the Lions win here, I think everyone is going to be talking about how Aaron Rodgers is throwing, and that makes no sense to me, man. I think
Yeah.
really keep your eye on Aaron Jones this game. I think
Oh yeah.
that's who you need to watch out on. If
Yeah.
he's having problems against this team, there's going to be a lot more issues on the Packers side of the ball than just Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I again, he's not throwing the game. He's not trying to sabotage the team or the season. But I honestly wouldn't be shocked if the Lions won this game either. It has the potential for it to happen. Especially with the Packers defense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I'm not betting against the Packers though. I will go on record and choose the Packers, but
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be shocked if they lost.
Yeah,
I just wouldn't be
for
shocked.
sure. And
Yeah.
the crazy thing about it too is like I'm looking at all these picks. I'm looking at all these picks,
Mhm.
and all of them are the same, except for the 49ers game. So you know what? I'm going with the Lions, baby. Let's go. I'm shaking it up. Somebody's got to give. Um, Once again, I love doing this show because once again, it's never just about this is what's gonna happen and here's how it happens. We're trying to
Yeah.
imagine both sides here, and I
Yeah.
think just having I think this is gonna make this game even more fun for me to watch. So you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going with the Lions. Let's do it.
I like that. I like that. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if I was wrong on this one.
Mhm.
It has a potential to it has a potential for an upset, quote unquote.
Mhm. Yeah. And like you said, these divisional matchups, man, you
Yeah.
love to see
Yeah.
these teams step up whenever
Yeah.
they got these big names in the division.
Yeah.
But all
Yeah.
right,
We'll
man. Is there
see.
anything else you want to wrap up with? Wrapping up week one and looking forward to week two.
Man, nah, I'm very interested in seeing how fantasy works out this week because it with all these different matchups, this week is gonna it's gonna be very interesting to see who doesn't show up. I think it's gonna be very interesting. I think we have a lot of potential matchups that will allow us to have upsets and surprises. I think keep an eye out on some of these players. Like Mitchell, I think is going to be the running back that you have to get. There's no question about that. And again, Gainwell is one of those running backs. I think you gotta keep an eye on. I think fantasy wise, this year is going to be very interesting all over for most positions. I not so much for wide receiver, but
Mhm.
running back and defense are the two spots that I'm like I can see a lot of people that are sleeping on a lot of these players and teams. So
For sure. And my
yeah,
last thing on this week, I think this week, and I'm going to go on record as saying this, I think there's not going to be one game where there's a shutout. I think everyone is scoring at least one touchdown this week. And that's
yeah,
always exciting coming into a fantasy week. There's a lot of good matchups this week, but a lot of good offensive matchups too.
yeah,
That's what I'm most excited for. And going forward, man, I think nobody coming into the season would have thought that the Ravens or the Titans could potentially go 0-2. So I'm watching those games with a monocle, dude. I want to
yeah,
make sure to see how both those
yeah,
teams look. And I think if either of those teams come out and look dejected and look sluggish,
yeah.
that's gonna say a lot more about where their season's probably potentially heading than anything. They both need to come out on fire and ready to play because if not, they're gonna have a hard week
I
and a hard
completely
rest
agree.
of the season.
Yeah, I completely agree. If you're dejected this early in the season, that's it. It's just gonna be a long season. That's why I think the Falcons are gonna. I agree with you, except for one game.
Mhm.
I think the Falcons are gonna get shut out.
Hmm.
I don't see how they score. I just don't see how that now with that offensive line. I don't see how, unless they're somehow able to get a pick six or a
Mhm.
fumble and run it into the house. I don't see how they're able to even score this year.
Mm.
I really don't see it.
And that's so hard to think of if you're a
Yeah,
Falcons fan. When you consider you're closing your eyes, you're watching the draft,
yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
we're gonna finally be good on offense. We're gonna be good on offense again. Like there's
yeah,
no
yeah,
you would think, that's the answer, but it is
yeah,
not whatsoever.
yeah. And I can't lie. The first quarter, I was sitting, I was like, these Falcons could actually do something this year.
Mm.
And then second quarter started, and I was like,
Blew it
never mind,
open.
never
Yeah,
mind.
never mind.
As soon as you start believing that there's something that could happen, it is what it is what
Yeah.
it is. They're gonna be a top three draft pick this year, this next
Mm-hmm.
season, for
I
sure,
agree.
for sure.
All
All
right,
right,
man. That
man.
was another great week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And make sure you catch past episodes of the Sideline Guys. We're on Apple Podcasts, iHeart. We're on everywhere you can find your podcast. Look for us there, YouTube especially. But look for all the shows under the OTS brand. We're all over. Past the aux, fans, Life's a Botch. So many shows. We Can Be Heroes. Check them all out. Go to our website, otsguys.com. You can get direct access to these shows. And follow us on all social media platforms at OTS Guys on all platforms, youtube.com/OTS Guys, or just go to the website and you can find everything there. We are the Sideline Guys, and we will catch y'all next week.
Peace. Let's do it.